The wind roared, snow swirled wildly, and visibility dropped to almost zero. 17 climbers were stranded on Mount Everest, running out of oxygen. Did they have any hope of survival? And what made that day infamous as the 1996 Mount Everest disaster? In March of that year, an expedition led by Rob Hall, consisting of 18 climbers, gathered in Kathmandu, Nepal. The next day, they set off on their 9-day trek through the rugged Himalayan paths. By April 9th, they reached base camp, the starting point for Everest ascents. The climb was tough, and altitude sickness affected several members. Meanwhile, another team led by Scott Fischer was also making their way to base camp with 19 climbers. Once both teams arrived, they began training, learning to breathe in the thin mountain air. Troubles soon followed. One of Rob's climbers developed frostbite, while another struggled to speak as his throat froze. On Scott's team, a climber had difficulty breathing, even at base camp, and had to rely on bottled oxygen. Tragically, one of Scott's Sherpas, those incredible Himalayan guides who can carry enormous loads and adapt to low oxygen environments, fell gravely ill and was evacuated. Sadly, he passed away weeks later. On May 6th, both teams departed base camp. After reaching Camp 2, they moved to Camp 4, the final stop before the summit. The plan was to climb to the top and return to Camp 4 within 18 hours to avoid deadly exposure to thin air. During their climb, a member from another expedition slipped into a crevasse after stepping outside his tent without properly attaching his boot spikes. Though rescued, he later descended alone and sadly didn't survive. By now, the climbers had entered the death zone, where oxygen levels are dangerously low. Despite warnings from descending climbers about worsening weather, the teams pressed on. At midnight on May 10th, they began their summit push, each carrying 2 oxygen tanks intended to last until 5 p.m. Delays in setting safety ropes forced them to wait an hour, and slower climbers further held up progress. Rob Hall had instructed his team to turn back by 2 p.m., regardless of their summit status. However, many ignored this deadline. The first climbers reached the summit at 1 p.m., but others pushed on much later. Rob Hall and climber Doug Hansen didn't summit until 4 p.m., dangerously late to descend safely. By 3:30 p.m. the weather turned severe, and by 6 p.m. a full blizzard raged across the mountain. While some climbers returned safely, many were still stuck in the storm by 10 p.m. A group of climbers stranded just 200 feet from Camp 4 decided to huddle together and wait for the blizzard to pass. Meanwhile, Rob Hall stayed with Doug Hansen, who had collapsed near the dangerous Hillary step. Tragically, Hansen didn't survive, and Hall perished while remaining by his side. The storm claimed 8 lives and left others with severe injuries. It was the deadliest 24-hour period on Mount Everest at the time. In the years that followed, Everest continued to challenge climbers. In 2001, French snowboarder Marco Siffredi attempted to ride down the summit. His initial route lacked snow, forcing him to choose a different path. Despite equipment issues that required repair, he successfully descended to 21,000 feet in just 2 hours. The next year, Marco attempted another descent, but disappeared during the climb. He was never found. Mount Everest held more mysteries. In 1924, Andrew Sandy Irvine and George Mallory disappeared while attempting to summit the peak. For years, no one knew if they had made it. In 1999, Mallory's body was discovered, only to mysteriously vanish again later. Then, in September 2024, a team filming for National Geographic spotted something unusual: a weathered boot poking out of the ice. Inside was a sock bearing the initials AC Irvine. It confirmed the discovery of Sandy Irvine's remains. While searching nearby, the team also found a 1933 oxygen bottle that hinted at where Mallory and Irvine's belongings may have fallen. Irvine was known to carry a camera, and many believe the photos inside could reveal if they reached the summit before disappearing. Irvine's family provided DNA samples to confirm his identity, hoping to finally uncover the truth about that fateful climb. While the Mount Everest disaster of 1996 is often remembered for its tragic loss of life, it's also a story of incredible heroism and selflessness. In the chaos that ensued after the storm hit, rescue operations were mounted against all odds. The Sherpas, the unsung heroes of Everest, played a crucial role. Despite the extreme conditions, they risked their lives to bring injured climbers down to safety. Ang Dorje Sherpa and Lopsang Jangbu Sherpa were instrumental in these efforts, demonstrating extraordinary bravery and resilience. Other climbers also pitched in. Anatoly Bukriv, a guide for the Mountain Madness team, undertook solo rescue missions in the middle of the night. Battling against the fierce winds and freezing temperatures, he managed to save several climbers who were stranded and on the brink of death. Helicopter rescues, which are rare in the high altitudes of Everest due to the thin air and treacherous conditions, were also attempted. Pilot Maidan Khatri Chetri performed a daring high-altitude rescue, pushing the limits of aviation to save lives. These rescue efforts underscore the indomitable human spirit and the will to help others, even in the face of overwhelming odds. The bravery displayed by the Sherpas, climbers and rescuers is a testament to the enduring strength and compassion found in the most extreme con. Their actions turned a story of tragedy in reminding us all of the power of human solidarity and courage. As we delve deeper into Everest disaster of 1996, it's essential to highlight the personal stories of the survivors. Their experiences provide a poignant glimpse into the sheer willpower and tenacity required to overcome such a harrowing ordeal. Among the survivors was Beck Weathers, a climber who was left for dead not once but twice. Suffering from severe frostbite and hypothermia, Beck spent a night exposed to the brutal elements. In a miraculous turn of events, he regained consciousness and staggered back to camp, driven by an unyielding will to see his family again. Yasuko Namba, the oldest woman to summit Everest at that time, also faced unimaginable challenges. Despite her incredible accomplishment, she succumbed to the extreme conditions on the descent. Her story serves as a somber reminder of the mountain's unforgiving nature. John Krakauer, a journalist and climber, documented his experiences in his book, Into Thin Air. His account provides a detailed and emotional narrative of the disaster, shedding light on the psychological and physical toll it took on everyone involved. Another survivor, Charlotte Fox, endured the storm by huddling in a snow cave with other climbers. She later recounted the sheer terror and helplessness they felt as the blizzard raged on, yet they held on to hope and each other for strength. These personal stories are a testament to the human spirit's resilience. Each survivor faced insurmountable odds, yet their determination and courage saw them through the darkest hours. Their experiences remind us that even in the face of nature's most formidable challenges, the human will to survive and the bonds formed in adversity can lead to extraordinary feats of endurance. The harrowing events of the 1996 Mount Everest disaster left an indelible mark on the climbing community and led to significant changes in how future expeditions are conducted. The tragedy highlighted the critical need for improved safety protocols and better decision-making processes at high altitudes. In the aftermath of the disaster, many expedition leaders and climbing organizations re-evaluated and enhanced their safety measures. This included stricter guidelines on acclimatization, better communication systems, and more rigorous checks on weather forecasts. One of the most significant changes was the emphasis on climbers' experience and fitness levels. Expeditions began to enforce stricter requirements for climbers attempting to summit Everest, ensuring that only those with adequate experience and physical preparation were allowed to join. Additionally, there was a renewed focus on the importance of teamwork and the role of professional guides. The disaster underscored the necessity of having experienced guides who could make critical decisions under pressure and ensure the safety of their clients. The use of supplemental oxygen also became a more prominent part of the strategy for high-altitude climbs. While some climbers still attempt to summit without it, the majority now recognize the life-saving benefits of using supplemental oxygen to combat the extreme conditions. The 1996 disaster also led to the development of more advanced gear and clothing, designed to withstand the brutal conditions of high-altitude climbing. Innovations in technology and materials have made equipment lighter, more durable. Moreover, the disaster brought attention to the mental and emotional challenges of climbing Everest. Psychological support and mental preparation became integral parts of the training process, helping climbers to cope with the stress and pressure of such a demanding endeavor. These changes have undoubtedly made Everest expeditions safer, but the mountain remains as formidable as ever. The lessons learned from the 1996 disaster continue to shape the strategies and protocols of today's climbers, reminding us that respect for the mountain and careful preparation is essential. The 1996 Mount Everest disaster not only shook the climbing community, but also capped news outlets from around the globe reported on the tragic events, bringing the harrowing details into the public eye and sparking widespread interest and concern. Interviews with surviving climbers, expedition leaders, and experts provided deeper insights into what went wrong and why. These interviews offered a platform for those directly involved to share their experiences and reflections. Family members of the climbers who lost their lives also spoke out, sharing their grief and the profound impact the disaster had on their lives. Their emotional testimonies highlighted the personal toll of such high-risk endeavors and underscored the importance of safety and preparedness. The media coverage prompted a broader public discourse on the ethics and risks of climbing Mount Everest. Many questioned whether the pursuit of this scrutiny led to a re-evaluation of commercial expeditions and the responsibilities of tour operators in ensuring the documentaries and books about the disaster, including John Krakauer's Into Thin Air, further fueled public interest and provided detailed accounts of the events. These works offered a comprehensive look at the disaster, combining personal stories with expert analysis to create a nuanced understanding of what transpired. The public reaction was a mix of fascination, sympathy, and criticism. While many admired the bravery and determination of the climbers, others criticized the commercialization of Everest and the perceived recklessness of some expeditions. This complex reaction highlighted the dual nature of high-altitude climbing as both a remarkable human achievement and a perilous endeavor fraught with risk. In the end, the media coverage of the 1996 disaster played a crucial role in bringing attention to the challenges and dangers of climbing Everest. It spurred important conversations about safety, responsibility, and the true cost of conquering the world's highest peak. As we continue to reflect on these events, it is essential to remember the lessons learned and the lives lost, and to strive for greater safety and respect for the mountain in future expeditions. Thank you for watching Bright Insights. If you found this video engaging, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more in-depth explorations of high-altitude adventures and survival stories.